Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name's Trevor. Really grateful to have you here with me. And in today's video, I'm actually going to be going over some fragrances I've mentioned a handful of times on my channel. But I wanted to give a dedicated shout out to the line. So this is from the house of Angel Schlesser, and then all three bottles, as you can see, kind of have this makeup on them. This kind of plain black rectangular bottle with this sticker on them. The name of the line is L'eau d'un instant, which I think in French is like the water of a moment. And so there's three fragrances in this line, and they are all, or I think there's four in this line actually. This is an official advertisement in the background here from Angel Schlesser, and then I'm probably going to make that the thumbnail too, so when you're seeing this. So there is a fourth one that's built around vanilla, I think, but it was done by a different perfumer. Whereas these three in this line were all done by Hamid Marati-Kashani, who is the same perfumer who did Parfums de Marley Layton, Parfums de Marley Pegasus, and Parfums de Marley Percival. So you've got somebody with a quality, niche, mass-appealing nose creating these three fragrances. The one thing that I would critique about this line of fragrances is that they are pretty linear, so you don't get as much development with these fragrances as you do with other fragrances. But that aside, they are incredibly all really pleasant fragrances. They're high quality ingredients, and they're masterfully crafted by Hamid Marati-Kashani. So I just wanted to get into these hidden gems, I would say. I got all mine for under $50. I think they're kind of hard to come by for that price, so there's something to kind of keep your eye out for. Same thing with, you know, like the Banana Republic fragrances. You can find them for like 20 bucks if you're keeping your eye out at the rack stores, but online they're running around like $60. These are kind of like that, so if you're like watching the discounters, Perfume Empire is where I got two of mine from, and then the third one I got from makeupstore.com. So I'm just gonna get right into kind of talking about these three. The first one that I got was this one, Deep Leather. I did a first impressions video of these two here, I think alongside Angel Share. You can check that haul video out. But this one was my scent of the day yesterday. Beautiful office style fragrance. It opens up with bergamot, and then it's supposed to have a mid of lavender and a base of vanilla. It's really hard for me, other than the bergamot blast in the opening, to pick out any of the notes in here. I don't get an overt leather fragrance out of this. There is a little bit of an animalic touch, but it's kind of like a powdery office scent in some sense, which is why I wore it as my scent of the day yesterday. I actually had jury duty, so I was in a courtroom sitting next to a bunch of people for a long period of time. I didn't get any compliments, but I didn't have anybody you know, get up and move chairs from around me, or you know, look as if they were agitated like from sitting next to me. So very pleasant. One of my top picks for office fragrances. That's where I usually wear this one, is around the house when I'm doing work, editing videos, things like that on my days off. One fragrance that I can say this reminds me a lot of is, it's kind of like a more modernized version of this fragrance right here, Lalique pour Homme, the lion's head version. So this is also kind of like a powdery office fragrance. The two smell very similar. Like I said, this one just seems like a little bit more modern, and this one is not quite dated, but it's kind of got a little bit of a stuffiness to it. Maybe from the excess of lavender in here. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, this is still a beautiful fragrance. I really do enjoy this one, and if I hadn't smelt this one, I would be recommending this one still. I mean, this one is cheaper. But yeah, these two fragrances remind me a lot of each other. This one just seems a little bit touch more modernized. And I get a lot of joy out of wearing both of these, but I would reach for this one first over this one. So that is the first one I wanted to talk about, Deep Leather. The second one here, Sublime Rose. So this is probably my favorite out of the three in terms of scent profile. However, it's probably the most difficult to pull off. It is definitely a... so this is usually my bedtime fragrance, something I like to wear to bed just because, like I said, it's hard to pull off in a certain situation. I think this would be a great black tie event style fragrance. It's definitely accents like a black tux very well. There's a slight femininity to it. Well, maybe not a femininity, but it's definitively unisex. And I think that when you've got that masculine edge from wearing a tuxedo, this kind of pulls it all together and balances the presentation of you with your fragrance and your outfit. So yeah, I would recommend this as like a wedding event or something of that nature is where I would see this best fitting in. The fragrance in my collection that this most reminds me of that I could compare it to is this one right here, Shagaf Oud. So these both have rose and saffron. Now this is sweetened up by some praline, whereas this one has cypress in the top, so there's a slight green woodiness, but you don't get too much of that. Predominantly what this has is a slight bit of saffron that just kind of adds like a little bit of flavoring almost, like you would in like a saffron tea or something. Like it's not particularly a main player in here like it is in normal rose oud style fragrances, but the absolute main player in here, which makes sense why this is called Rose Absolute, is that there is this incredibly just juicy jammy rose. And like when I say jammy, I mean like preservative or like preserves or like jelly, grape jelly or strawberry jelly. This is like a rose jelly. Just a beautiful, nice, almost gourmandish, sweet, amazing rose. Yeah, this is just one of my favorite roses in my collection. And then, like I said, it's just got that little bit of flavoring from the saffron. And then the cypress definitely is adding a little bit to it, but it's just in the top. I mean, these are just the notes that are listed online. I feel like there is a lot more going on than 3 notes because that's all we get for all 3 of these fragrances is a 3-note note listing. Like I said, they are kind of linear, so I could see that being the case, but they definitely feel like there's a lot more going on, but they are all incredibly beautifully blended. Like they just smell like everything is one single harmony of flavors and fragrance notes. Yeah, I just think these are incredibly well done, and they're all really good, unique scent profiles. Like I'm comparing these to things in my collection, but they definitely are unique. I think these two, the Deep Leather and the Lalique Pour Homme Lion's Head, are probably the closest to one another in terms of, not having the most uniqueness factor. And then finally, this one I've actually gotten the least amount of wear out of, but is probably my, not my favorite scent profile, but my favorite in terms of like versatility. Well, maybe not versatility, I don't know, it's hard to describe because this is, I think, probably the most versatile because you can get away with it in the office and it's the safest. But this one just feels like the most designer-ish, I guess. Like this has like a little bit of a niche aspect to it in terms of like the scent profile and the quality. This one is like a safe bet, like an office fragrance, and then this one is just a really nice, something that I would wear in a normal designer space. I think it really accents the autumn best. I haven't gotten to wear it in the autumn because I got it this winter. And like I said, I've gotten the least amount of wears out of it, but this one's called Sensual Patchouli, and it's got a really beautiful chocolatey and earthy patchouli in here. And then I think there's black pepper in the top and then jasmine in the mid. So what you get out of this is it's almost cooling. like mentholic in a way, but then it's like incredibly sweet and sensual, like it says Sensual Patchouli. And then if I could compare this to something in my collection, it would be this Ferragamo F Black. Now, these don't really smell like each other, but they're constructed in a similar fashion. So if you think about this fragrance and you took the lavender out of it and replaced it with patchouli, that's kind of what this is. Just, you know, the heavy black pepper in this, and then like the kind of sweet tonka in here. So you get like the patchouli dominates and is like the major player in the same way that a lavender is like one of the major players in this one. They both have the black pepper, and then there's like a sweetness in here from tonka, but the sweetness from the patchouli capitalizes in this. And then there's also a little bit of a kind of sweet and sensual quality from the jasmine in here. So this one is, I think this is going to be my scent of the night actually. I'm just going to throw this on and wear this to bed just to kind of get a little bit more familiar with it, since it's the most foreign to me right now. Now, in terms of longevity, this one is, I get easy 7 to 8 hours plus. I've never put this on for bed, except that it was heavily on my skin in the morning. This one is like moderate. I would say that from what the wearings I've got with it so far, it's been about 5 to 6 hours. And then the deep leather also has like a moderate longevity, about 5 to 6 hours. So that all being said, kind of linear, somewhat moderate projection, except for the Rose Absolute. But craftsmanship is spectacular. The quality of ingredients are spectacular. I really think these three fragrances are part of a hidden gem line, so definitely check them out. This is the Waters of a Moment, or Les Eaux d'un Instant is the line name, and then you've got Deep Leather, Sensual Patchouli, and Rose Absolute, all perfumed by Hamid Merati-Kashani. Angel Schlesser is the house, a house that I'm eagerly waiting to explore a little bit more. Their Oriental Soul is another one of my favorite rose fragrances. It's rose oud with some musk. Incredible value for the money that you pay in this house, and they do hire, you know, high-end perfumers like I think Alberto Marias has done one of their fragrances, and then obviously the perfumer who did Layton has done all three of these fragrances. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of introduce you all to these fragrances. I think they're hidden gems personally. I would look for a good deal and try to get them for around the $50 price range. I think they're worth about $60 and below. I wouldn't pay anything more than $60. But yeah, they're definitely you know, worthy of designer price range. And I'm definitely recommending checking out all three of them. So appreciate you sticking with me to the I appreciate you sticking with me to the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.